You probably have been playing League of Legends for a long time, or maybe you just started your first game because a friend of yours told you about this little demon named Timo. This time it doesn't matter. I'm here to give you some tips and tricks for League of Legends that you may have heard, or maybe you haven't, but let me assure you that they are super useful. My name is WTFast, and today I bring you 10 tips and tricks that you need to know for League of Legends. But before we begin, let me tell you something about these tricks. They are going to be split in two. The first one are beginners and mid-tier tips, and the 5 last ones are going to be more advanced. If you want to go to any of these, please just advance in the timeline or click the time logs in the description. Number 1. It's better to master a few champions than be average with everyone. In League of Legends, sometimes less is more. You want to overcome your foes with discipline, with dedicated moves, and sometimes with flashy plays. If this is not happening, perhaps you're using too many champions. Believe it or not, mastering a champion is one of the best things you can do in League of Legends, especially when you are new to the game. This way, the more you use a champion, the more you will know his skills, attributes, how much damage you can do or take, and how this champion precisely moves. Even like I told you in the last video, that you can get used to the champion attacks just to farm better. Trust me, pick a few champions for each lane or your main lane and master them. For example, in my case for top lane, it's always Fiora, Darius or Zed. They are abusive, they hit hard, and of course they are easy to use. Well, maybe not Fiora, but I love her, she's adorable. Number 2. Don't ward too obviously. There's a bush, there's a path that everybody wards, but why will you do that? Usually warding some spots that are not usually warded, but with a precise vision will give you a better edge on the enemy jungler. This way you can either be prepared and not get ganked, or if you have an assassin and you're ahead of them, you can hunt the enemy jungler. Let me show you a few places you can do this and get an excellent vision. Number 3. Work according to your objectives. Listen, killing everybody is terrific, but you know what is more amazing? Yeah, winning the game. But to do so, you can't just kill and kill. And as I showed you before in the how to control your lane video, there is more than meets the eye that only frag people. In this case, you need to know what's the objective of your jungler. And there is 4 dragons, 1 elder, 1 baron, and also a reef herald. Every one of them are critical components to a swift victory. You need to be aware of everything before you start one of those. By that I mean checking your jungler from time to time. You want to know if he wants to take a jungler objectives and be ready to support him as soon as possible in the case of a fight. So be aware of your jungler. Number 4. Keep an eye on the enemy jungler. I mean, I just told you about your jungler, but what about the enemy? Listen, there is a reason why in the past years of League of Legends the role of the highest win rate in the game is the jungler. They change the tides of a match in one gank at a time, and the better the gank rate they have, the worse you will have it in your game. It is essential that you know where the jungler is and let your team know. Remember that you need help your jungler to succeed. Even if the guy is just a potato jungler, make his job easier and ward the enemy jungler from time to time. The best way to go is to ward their encampments, or there are some places that you can use and will give you a better understanding of the enemy jungler. You will thank me later, trust me. Number 5. Use the practice tools. Oh god, I cannot stop saying this, but it's so important. You have no idea how good the practice tool is. You can try a lot of mechanics without risk. You don't need to be there for hours, but think about 10 minutes a day. You know, like trying farming, like I told you in the how to farm video, or try these fantastic ribbon resets, listen insects and wear movements like, you know, like Sonia's Caitlyn trap or something. There's so much you can do there. Please don't waste these tremendous tools. Okay, and now we will go to the more advanced tricks. So let's start with number 6. Number 6, be unpredictable and move erratically. The most feared abilities in League of Legends are the skill shots. They are hard to pull off sometimes, but they pay better than some target abilities. And if you are missing way too many skill shots for your enemy, that's because you are not moving accordingly. For example, I'm in the main Fiora. I usually like intuitive abilities because I can counter them the most of the time. Still, when someone is erratic, I typically have problems. For example, a Renekton that likes to save his stun instead of opening with it. That way, I cannot predict the repose correctly and I lost a precious counter and a stun. Also, moving back and forth like a madman and side to side with no pattern is amazing for the laning phase. You won't let your opponent hit you too quickly, and sometimes it would look like an idiot for missing 1 or 2 skill shots, just because of your movement. Just look at the pros while they lane. They like to keep moving, and of course this will give you an edge over your opponent because your skill or skill shots will be as unpredictable as your movement. Number 7. Think about your spacing and environment. This is one of the most common things people overlook when in a team fight. They just love to fight and they will fight everywhere. It's true that there are some fights that are unavoidable, but you have to think first before you get into a fight. To excel in this, you need to think about the space you're working with, because there are some champions like Kiana or Anivia that are an absolute suicide to fight in close areas. Others are amazing in open ones like Yasuo or Riven, just to make an example. So think about what champions are you against and work accordingly, and let your team know that you need to consider this issue. Number 8. Learn your mechanics. And no, I'm not talking about that sweet attack reset for Riven or the QQ WR for Lee Sin. I'm talking about the most ultra basic commands like orb walking, also known as attack move or kiting. Also, there are ways you can attack only champions and ignore minions. For that, check the interface key bindings and work accordingly, just in case you don't have it set. Number 9. Learn how to trade everything. League is a give-and-take ballet, and you don't want to be a dancer that gets hurt. So, to do this, you need to know how to control your lane. And of course, that means learning how to trade damage and abilities. Remember that when people try to farm minions or use an ability, you have a window of opportunity to trade damage to them. Use their cooldowns to your advantage, and if they cast something important like a Q to farm, for example, punish them. Abuse them in lane, try to trade damage every time you see a window of opportunity, but do it wisely. Learn how strong you are and how hard it will be to do so with your opponent. This is kind of hard against high sustained champions, but trust me, there's always a mistake done in the lane from your opponent that you can get a gold mine in return. Number 10. Learn how to control your minion wave. Hey, I know that I talked about this in the video about how to control your lane, but there might be someone that hasn't heard of that before. So here's the deal. To gain an advantage in the game, you will need to know how to harass your opponent in the best way possible, and while you do that, you should be able to deny experience from him and keep the best farming possible, all in the same time. If you want to know more about this, please check the video in the description. And that's the video for today. I hope you learned something. Thanks for clicking that subscription button and like button as always. See you next time.